Hey guys, last week was a big week of training for me. I combined outdoor training with racing a virtual grand tour on the indoor trainer on ROUVY. In this video, I want to go over that experience. I want to give you some ins and outs and some tips and tricks about indoor training and combining it with outdoor training. And I want to go over my experience with ROUVY and let you know my first thoughts on that piece of software.
Okay, just finished that stage of Tour de Suisse on ROUVY. It was a struggle.
First, hydrate.
Still a tough start to this race. I want to get you up to those three guys.
Guys, I just want to mention that ROUVY is kindly sponsoring this video. They've set me up with a year subscription on ROUVY so I can combine this with my outdoor training for the entire year and stay motivated. And for you guys, there's a 20% discount down in the description. Use this code towards any subscription on ROUVY and go check it out. What's up guys? What's up cycling fanatics? Welcome back to another video. This video is about training. I've done a big week where I was racing some serious races all uphill of the Tour de Suisse, and I was doing that on my indoor trainer, inside, on the bike, in front of the TV, on ROUVY. ROUVY is a digital training and racing platform. It's like Zwift, but it's different. It uses real footage from actual rides and climbs and roads of the real world. So you can ride up the Alpe d'Huez, the Stelvio, Mont Ventoux, all these iconic big climbs from your indoor trainer. And then it augments certain features inside that video so you can actually see your avatar and other people riding in your ride or your race. So you can race against others. That's pretty cool. So I started on Sunday. Sunday was sort of an easy day for me, and I wanted to figure out everything around the new platform, ROUVY. So I registered, I set up an account, I installed the software, and I downloaded a few of the videos that I was gonna need for the Tour de Suisse, the races that I was gonna race. So on Sunday was a time trial. Obviously, a time trial is super hard, but I wanted to go easy and I want to get familiar with the software, the gameplay, how did it work. Of course, I had to set up my sensors. I had to connect my indoor trainer, my heart rate monitor, and there's a few settings that you can change in the program. So you can change your avatar, the jersey he wears, you can change the bike he's riding. Of course, you need to set up your weight and you can set up your FTP and all that stuff. And I did a little ride and I noticed one thing straight away. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! The gradients in ROUVY are real. If it's 10% up, you feel like you're riding 10% up. And there's no cheating. You cannot change this to make it easier or whatever. So I changed the bike straight away because I had my Aero on there with big gears, which were gonna be way too big for those climbing stages. So swapping the bike for the Fuji because I have a compact chainring in the front on the Fujis. So that was my take and my first experience with ROUVY. Day 2, Monday was my first race on ROUVY. We're riding up the Newfoundland Pass in Switzerland. I think this is like the highest elevated road in Switzerland, so a really big climb.
10% really feels hard.
The ride was about 30 kilometers of uphill, and it went uphill straight from the beginning, and I could notice this straight away. I had to shift down from the beginning. I was in my small ring and I could feel the resistance. And I got in a group around position 10 or 12, it really started to become a race. There even were a few attacks in this race, And there was one guy, Mr. Lopez, and I felt like I was racing Mr. Lopez. At some point, he attacked through a few other riders, but I didn't see it. Just like in a real race, sometimes other people are in front of you, you don't really see what's happening. And he got away. I went after it, I chased him down. About halfway, that's really when the race started and the pitch was going up really steep. And from that point, it was like 10% or more, all the way up to the top of the climb. And I was pushing really big numbers, like 350, 400 watts, just to stay with these few guys that I was in this group. And at that point, my shoelace came undone. Very annoying. And I really felt like I had to tie up my lace, but I didn't really want to because I was gonna drop out. But I still did. I tied up my shoelace as fast as I could, then jumped back on the ride and pushed really hard, and I got back with those riders that I was riding with. It really took a big chunk out of my energy, but I made it happen.
At least I caught back on these guys. This is 9%. Another 12k to go. I have to get up top of the Newfoundland Pass. One of the highest roads in Switzerland. I'm on position 7.
And I stayed with these riders for the most of the climb. And I even got to drop a few. And I got 7th place. Really good.
This is the top. Zip up my jersey for the finish. Yay! Woohoo! Oh, dude. I really need time to cool down. That was really hard. Really hard. I mean, it's hot. Obviously, it's quite warm when you're riding the indoor trainer, even though I have big fans. But it was also really tough. It was real tough riding. You can't change the trainer difficulty to make it easier. Like 10% is 10% and 15% is 15%. And on this Newfoundland Pass that I just did, 33.5 kilometers with 1500 meters of climbing, 1 hour 32, so 7th place. That's pretty good. I mean, I don't know who lined up, but 7th place is pretty good when it's a climbing race. I'm gonna get something to eat, take a cold shower.
A few things that I got from this ride is the experience with drafting. They don't have drafting on a time trial, but they do have it in normal races. And there's like a little draft meter in the middle that actually tells you how many watts you are saving when you're drafting someone. So this is really cool. You know, you can really see what is happening. At some points the draft was like 30, 40, sometimes even 120 watts or more when you go faster. So that's actually, I think it's pretty realistic. When you go at high speeds, the draft can be really big. And the next day, on Tuesday, I had 2.5 hours of endurance training. So I took the boys out in the chariot behind the gravel bike and I went for a spin on the road and a little bit off the road.
I've been riding with the kids in this chariot for a while. It usually goes pretty well. It's giving me a lot of extra resistance, especially when I ride into the wind. This is almost simulating a climb, so it's pretty good training. Besides the 1 or 2 bridges that I have around me in my area, everything is flat. Although a long flat ride into a headwind can be pretty challenging, for some reason climbing up a steep iconic mountain, people want to challenge themselves riding up a climb, and so do I.
Very important with this weather to get your hydration back up to levels. It was really warm outside, and also of course on the indoor trainer you'll be sweating a lot. So I will be drinking a lot of fluid today, and obviously I'm gonna get some carbs in. I usually take simple oatmeal as a either pre or post ride meal. So you can do this in the microwave to warm it up, or overnight oats where it's nice and cold, especially with this weather. That's very nice. I usually add some raisins and some other fruit to make it even nicer.
First, hydrate after your ride, very important.
So really important to get your nutrition in, like I just mentioned, because when you do back-to-back riding days, you really want to stay topped up for the next day. Well, the next day was a recovery day. So in this week, I had one recovery day on Wednesday. I had to work that day and I really couldn't get any rides in. I was working from the morning till the evening, and it actually went really well in the middle of the week to get a rest day. The next day, I had to work as well in the morning till the afternoon, but I could go to do some intervals at night. So I did some 30-30 intervals on Thursday. This was a good training session for two reasons. First of all, I really like those 30-30s where you do 30 seconds of high intensity effort. You know, around your VO2 max, it's like 120 to 130% of your FTP. And then you get 30 seconds of recovery in zone 2. So you keep pedaling and then you do those 10 times and you have a little break, and then you can repeat that as many times as you want. I did 4 sets. During the training you can really feel if it works. You can increase the power if you can. Of course, try to keep the power as level as you can throughout the whole training session. And it's a great way to accumulate time in the zone. I did 20 minutes. Yeah, I did 20 minutes in total at around 130% of my FTP. That's a lot. That is a lot. So this gives a very good stimulus, and it was a pre-fatiguing effort for the next day. So the next day was another race on ROUVY. This was the Verkuijl Pass. The actual stage of the Tour de Suisse was riding the Verkuijl Pass that day. It was stage 6 of the Tour de Suisse. The real stage is 130 something kilometers. On ROUVY we did the last 30k going over that Verkuijl Pass, then descending and having a last climb at the end. Now it was really interesting to do that descent because I wanted to find out how the experience was on high speed, on the descent, maybe drafting with high speed and stuff. A few tips for when you jump on the indoor trainer. What I did, I put my bottles in the freezer. So they're nearly frozen. So the thing is, when you drink this, you're actually gonna cool down your body a little bit from the inside. Besides that, massive fans. I've got 2 of those. So I've got the headwind right in front of me and then one other one on the table blowing straight at my face. The windows are open, you need fresh air the whole time. Sweatbands. Super important because you don't want your sweat to drip all over your bike. So always wearing my sweatbands. This one on my head, I usually take it off because it ends up being too warm, and I always get rid of my jersey. But I try to keep on my base layer. Sometimes when it's hot, I would even take that off to cool down even more. But when it's cold outside and you're blowing really cold air straight onto your body, your skin just gets super cold, and it's nicer actually to have a base layer on. So since this is an online event, you have to start at the time when it starts. So in Europe, it starts at 7 o'clock. Obviously I'm in Europe. We've got 12 minutes and 54 seconds to the start of this race. So let's do a proper warm up and let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. So I started this race really strong and I got in straight away in like 5th position. And I was doing a great job, and then I had some power dropouts. I don't know why, because in the first 2 rides the connection was very stable, but I dropped out and I actually came to a halt a little bit, so I dropped out of my group, which was kind of sad. But it's almost like a real race when you can have a little mechanical issue, or you know, you get off the road or whatever happens and you drop out of the group that you were in. You know, stuff happens. So even in ROUVY, unexpected things happen, and I pushed very hard to get back in that group that I was in. I ended in sort of no man's land. There was a guy in front of me and a guy behind me, all in like 100 meters separate. So I was riding up that climb by myself. So I pushed it all the way up to the top of the climb, and then we went into the downhill. So this is the top of the first climb. Let's see how fast we can get the speed on the descent. There we go. -7. Super quick. It doesn't work in ROUVY. So you guys that are familiar with my channel, you know that I can descend. One thing that I find annoying in virtual worlds is that descending is the same for everyone, but climbing is not. You know, when you push hard, you go up the climb fast, but when you're a really good descender, you can't really make a difference in the descent. But it seemed like, because I'm a heavier rider, I was actually going down faster than the guy in front of me. So I was actually approaching him in a descent, and I actually overtook him.
I'm actually closing in on position number 4, probably because I'm a lot heavier than this dude. That should make me go down a lot faster. So if this is the realistic feeling of ROUVY, it's actually pretty good. Unfortunately, I don't have anyone riding around me, so I can't do the drafting at high speed, but the changes in gradient are very noticeable. So
it became a race between me and him. We were racing for position number 4. This is a thing that happened in real races as well. At some point, you're out there and there's not a lot of other riders behind you or in front of you, but there's one guy that you really want to beat. And this happened with me in this race. So I started chasing this guy, or actually I pulled away from him as we were climbing up that last little climb. And I was pushing hard. I'm like, okay, now I have him. If I push hard enough, I'm just gonna stay in front of him and I'll be 4th in this race. I don't know what happened. At some point, this guy, I called him Victor in the live stream. Victor started hammering it down and he just flew past me. And within no time, he smoked me and he had a big gap. He got 4th, I got 5th. Anyway, pretty good result for my second race, climbing race on ROUVY.
Okay, just finished that stage. Stage 6 of Tour de Suisse on ROUVY. Fighting for position 4. It was a struggle.
The last day of the training week, Saturday. Saturday I had a very big endurance ride planned. One of my friends was going all the way down to the south of the country and I was gonna join him for, you know, about 100 kilometers and then turn around and go back home. So I had about a 200k endurance ride on the program. Again, with the fatigue I already had in my system from the intervals and, you know, the big race on ROUVY, this actually works very well if you do a long, steady, you know, easy ride. So great combination of indoor and outdoor training.
6 hours 42, 213 kilometers. Average speed is almost 32. Normalized power 250. Average 222. So that's pretty good.
I have been on an indoor trainer for 4 hours or longer. There's people that ride indoor trainings for 12 hours. But to be honest, guys, if you really do long rides, it's just better to do it outside. It's very strenuous to sit on a stationary bike for 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours. So this is a great way to combine the indoor and outdoor rides. The ROUVY platform, very interesting. Like I mentioned before, you're riding in a real world. So if you're, you know, not really interested in a game, if you're not really interested in learning a certain trick to perform well on a platform, I think ROUVY might be more your thing. Now I've done a couple rides only, so maybe I cannot judge it completely, but it feels a little bit more realistic, like real life cycling. In ROUVY, I really feel like I'm drafting a lot at higher speed, so that's really nice. And yeah, you can go anywhere in the world. I'm gonna go into the Dolomites this summer, so I'm definitely gonna check out some of those big climbs, the Passo Giao, the Stelvio. You know, so it's great to be on my indoor trainer and just have those rides done at least once to sort of know what's coming up. So I'm gonna be doing that. One thing I noticed is that the avatars of the other riders are pretty big and sometimes they can be sort of obstructing your view, so you can't see if anyone is attacking, and also a little bit from the view from the mountains and the nice roads around you. So I'm not sure if they can maybe make it a little smaller or if you can sort of lift up your viewpoints. You know, you can look a little bit over the other riders. Guys, if you want to check out ROUVY, go check out. There's a 20% discount link from ROUVY. So that's what they offer you guys. If you have any questions about ROUVY or my training, leave them in the comments. and I'll do my best to reply. Check out this playlist for all my videos all around Europe. I'm cycling in so many different locations. I'm gonna see you in the next video. See ya!
Cycling fanatics. Sam, kom je?